NPBF fans and coaches alike, New Frontier people if you're watching, and whoever else this person has sent the video to. Welcome back to yet another Season 6 post-draft pre-Season 16 interview. Had to do that one slowly because I've been stepping over my words a few times, as you've all seen plenty of times by now. Joining me today is another commissioner who did get to be on the channel before, although I think realistically only one commissioner didn't get to be on the channel before his interview. And he's on the channel now, so we've all been on the channel. Made it to the semis last season. Dropped the ball against Liam, but you've already seen that. Still hasn't won a title. Might not happen this season. It's Jeff, coach of the Anaheim Appletuns. I almost said Analheim. Watching too much Numb Necklace, I guess.
This is the most depressing intro I've ever heard in my entire life. As we're going down my list of failures, it's just a wow. Maybe I do suck at this game. Shit. I'm bad. Wow. Oh, dropping the ball. Dropping the ball. Oh, shit.
Intention.
Oh, never won a title.
Intention, but it was the result, and it happened, and it's kind of funny.
Just got buried.
You didn't get buried. I could have said you're shit. You never make playoffs. You're never gonna win a title.
You're right.
I didn't say that. I didn't say you're never gonna win a title. Just said, spoiler alert for when we do the team ratings and maybe when we talk about Jeff's team. I don't like Jeff's team, and he's gonna have to really defend it to me and sell me on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it will. It's gonna be great.
I don't actually think you're gonna be able to sell me on it personally, but that's just me.
It's fine. I'll sell it with my actions.
But yes. I don't want you to do that except for when we talk about your team. We're here to talk about you and your actions. So, as alluded to, before we get into Season 16, we should talk about Season 15, because after you and I last spoke, had a bit of an eventful end of the season.
Yeah, I would say so. Definitely quite the end of the season, for sure. Playoffs were a mess.
That's the furthest you've made it in playoffs since doubles, right?
I think so.
Mono. Not double. I meant monotype.
Yeah. I mean,
or is it the first time you've made playoffs since monotype?
It might be, actually. It might actually be. Because I know I didn't make playoffs the season before. Complete mess. Complete catastrophe.
I couldn't tell you about the first season of 2021 because at some point, like, my team let me down and I stopped paying attention to who was in the playoffs race. I only know... I was actually surprised that James made it all the way to the finals because I really wasn't paying attention.
The last couple seasons have been blanked out of my mind heavily for good reason.
Yeah.
Very, very rough spot. Stretched myself way too thin with not enough time to do it. And it bit me in the butt.
That's why I don't do multiple leagues, but always get roped into multiple leagues.
I feel that. I feel like that always happens.
Yeah, it sucks. But anyway, Season 15. You made it to the semis. You lost to Liam, who is the current reigning champion, so there's no shame there. Despite the burial that you perceive to have received just now.
Yeah. So listen, if I have to lose in playoffs, I at least want the person who wins the whole thing to be the person who beat me.
Yeah, and that's totally fair and totally respectable and understandable. So let's talk about Season 15. You know, you famously, it has been noted many times, actually didn't draft that team at all. We don't have to break down the team or anything that happened, but I am curious if there was anything you took away from that team that informed or inspired how you decided you wanted to draft going into Season 16.
More or less, I just wanted to kind of try to stick more to my play style. I've always kind of played a little bit more, I'm a mix of, like, very passive to bulky offensive depending on the week in a lot of ways. Trying to play a lot more to that. I'm a very slow, methodical player, as you all have found out in my many, many hours of calking, tied between all of my games. I'm incredibly methodical with my plays. So it's having a team that's a little bit slower and tankier in a lot of spots helps me to kind of work with those tools a little better. And I get to play with my EV spreads a little bit more, which is always fun.
Right on.
So I think the whole purpose with like my last team was lacking in a lot of areas, specifically more so with bulk. Like my bulkiest mons were like Donphan and Blastoise.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but like they got relegated too hard for a lot of the season to trying to constantly be my bulky pivots, and I had to try to invest a lot of weird bulk investments into a lot of my offensive mons, which neutered some of them in certain ways, and it was very, very difficult for me to get around a lot of matchups because a lot of my mons just didn't have the tools to survive long enough to get anything done. So at least with this season, a lot of my team has that staying power to, be able to tank the hits that I need them to tank and still be able to achieve the goals I need them to achieve.
That is completely reasonable. So you would say, though, that ultimately the things you took away from last season weren't new things you learned about yourself or things that you want to adapt into your style, more just like, yeah, this just didn't work, did it? I'm not going to do this again.
It was an experiment. It was more or less an experiment that just didn't pan out. I had a couple of those in the past couple seasons, just testing new things, trying to go, certain routes. I had one season where I drafted like a full Trick Room design team at the beginning of the season, and that just completely fell apart. It just was not working. I just didn't work to my style, and it just didn't work to my style as well as I thought it was going to, and that completely fell apart within the first couple weeks, and screwed my whole season. I think that season actually ended up right on the verge of D-League. It was literally like my week 12 game. If I lost to Anthony, I went to D-League. It was basically whichever one of us lost was going to D-League. I knocked Anthony to D-League that season.
Okay, so that was the season that you and I were trying to remember if we made it to playoffs or not.
Yeah, that was a nope. I just double-checked it on... That was
a big old fat no.
Yeah, that wasn't even remotely close. That was one of my worst performing seasons ever.
Yeah, it was. Jesus Christ.
And definitely I've had to do a lot of work to build back up from there. And, getting there.
Boy, that was bad.
I don't know what it was. Galar decks just didn't work for me.
I hate Galar decks.
Both Galar deck seasons I performed terribly.
Yeah, me too. Well, the first Galar deck season. I did make playoffs the second Galar deck season, but that was barely. I had to beat Eric in final week to get it. And that game went on way too long.
Oh, yeah.
But the first Galar deck season was where I learned that Latios sucks.
Fair. Very fair.
As a tier 1, Latios is not good.
Very mid.
At least in now. At least outside of 6th gen and 5th and 4th and 3rd.
But yeah, mainly the biggest thing I took away from it is I just need to stick to my roots, stick to what works for me, stick to utilizing mons that I'm incredibly comfortable using. A lot of the mons on my team I have had incredible luck with before, especially all through this generation. So I'm hoping that combining a lot of these mons that I've had incredible luck with, both paired together and on separate teams, I think I'll be able to do a lot more than what it might look like I can do on paper.
Sweet. So with all that said, then would you say that going into this season with your draft that you had a game plan?
For the most part, I mean, I try to not think too far ahead. You know, I like to try to take things week by week, take it slow, and not try to overthink it too much. Keep myself more focused on the task at hand. Like right now, I'm very heavily focused on my week 1 match, and I haven't even looked at my matchups for the rest of my division.
I make one of us.
Just because I don't want to I don't want to get too far ahead and too much in my head, or I don't want to have one of those instances where I have like a stroke of genius and I forget to write it down or something, and then the week comes and that stroke of genius would have been perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely don't want to do that. That is for sure. So, in that case, let's take a look down this team. You said, actually, I was going to ask again, what was your plan? But I guess it's a matter of more. I got to be more specific than that, because otherwise it just sounds like I wasn't listening to you.
Fair enough.
I guess more importantly, having talked to you pre and post draft, I know that some of these picks were things that you had not been initially looking at or considering. Like Mega Kangaskhan was a late addition to the tier list, for example, but you definitely just picked it up because it was on the board. Nobody took it, right?
Yeah.
Celesteela wasn't a plan because you knew I was going to take it until Corviknight fell to me, and then you decided, well, whichever of these bulky steals he doesn't take, I'm going to take.
Yeah, absolutely.
When Donphan makes a return from last season, was that a conscious decision, or did things just fall into place that way? Things like that, that's what I'm curious about. Yeah. I guess the specific Mons, did you have a plan, or did things fall into place for this draft?
So, I think you guys know by now, I don't plan my drafts very often. I am a very, take what I can get when it comes to my turn kind of guy. I take a look at what's there. If I see something that stands out, I'm like, all right, I'm going to snatch that up. This time around, aside from my first round pick, I think the only other Mon that I really wanted to grab was Melodic. Melodic was the only other one I really wanted, and that was mainly just because I didn't want Liam to have it.
That's totally fair. Get fucked. Well, it wasn't on Liam's radar either, because he let it fall.
He let it fall to me, and I was perfectly fine with scooping it up. I feel like I scooped it up way earlier than most people would have considered it. Yeah, I scooped that up round 2.
Liam and David were doing a lot of talking about wanting to get that thing really early.
That's why I'm glad I grabbed it round 2. Because I knew if I left that thing on the board past round 2, looking at some of the other coaches and knowing how a lot of them like to play, I knew if I didn't take Melodic round 2, it wasn't coming back to me again. Yeah, my draft looked very weird for the first couple rounds. I didn't even draft a tier 1 until round 3, and that was only because I knew if I didn't grab it, I wasn't going to get a good steal. So it was I got to do that now, got to pull that trigger now, and we'll go from there.
Well, you did, and you got a good steal. I was honestly hoping that no one was going to draft Celesteela, and that I was going to just get to, if Corviknight doesn't work out, I could steal this right then. Nope. That is just not what happened.
Yeah, it worked out, though. You got your Corv, so... Yeah.
I will say, the versatility in Steela offensively is very appealing.
Oh, yeah. I like looking at its stats, the fact that it's 100, approximately 100 across the board, and almost all its stats is phenomenal for me.
I'm not a big fan that you have it. I gotta say.
Yeah. Same guys.
You mentioned your first pick, though. So I feel like we would be remiss to not talk about your first pick at length.
Oh, absolutely. I'm happy to. More than happy to.
You had the fifth overall pick?
Yep.
You could have taken. Let's just go through a list of things you could have taken that were on the board. All right. Let's do that because I want to hammer home this pick you got. You could have taken Tapu Lele. Fini, not Lele. Fini. You could have taken Tapu Fini.
Could have taken Dragapult.
You could have taken Dragapult. You could have taken Rillaboom. You could have taken Hoopin' Unbound. You could have taken Corviknight. You could have taken Mega Lopunny, Mega Mawile, Mega Sableye. Really any Mega, because at that point, you could have taken any Mega, because no Megas had been drafted yet, right?
Yep.
You could have taken Victini. Could have taken Jirachi. Could have taken Clefable. Could have taken Landorus Therian. Could have taken Melmetal. Melmetal didn't get drafted until round 3. God damn.
This draft was wild, dude.
Hell, you could have taken Mega Kangaskhan sooner. Could have taken Mega Kangaskhan a lot sooner.
Yeah.
Who else could you have taken that is on the board? Could have taken Heatran, who's just undrafted. Wild, by the way.
Oh, obscenely wild.
Could have taken
Aegislash, D-Knight, Kartana, Mamoswine, Necrozma, Spectrier.
Maybe not Spectre. That's not right.
You're right.
Suffice to say, though, there's a lot of things you could have picked, because at that point, the only things that weren't available to you were Kyurem Black, Sans Dragon Dance, Tapu Koko, Mew, and Ditto.
Not exactly a crazy list of Mons that...
well, 3 of those 4, I think, for the format we're playing in, are good round 1 picks. You know, Tapus are always good picks. Mew should always be in the first 5 picks. Ditto, when you got D-Max running around, is a very good pick.
Agreed.
Kyurem Black with no Deep Dragon Dance probably shouldn't have gone around for first overall pick. Sorry, Jesse.
No, I think I definitely think that's crazy.
Like that 700 base stat total, yeah, that's awesome, but it's Kyurem Black, though.
It can't do the one reason why it was banned.
Yeah, so, like, I don't know. But no, instead you picked your Dynamax captain.
I did
And
indeed.
you didn't just pick any Dynamax captain. You picked what is largely, my opinion, of course, just my opinion, always my opinion, was, other than the gimmick that got introduced with it when the Mon was introduced in 6th Gen, was realistically one of the most irrelevant Pokemon in 6th Gen, you know, in the scheme of things.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
its only shine was literally that it was the ace of an irrelevantly forgettable gym leader.
Oh, that's not even what I was going at. I was going at how, like, ride it.
True.
One little segment, and they had, like, advertised the shit out of it in the marketing for this game. X and Y is such a good game. I should play it again.
Love X and Y.
X and Y. I'm actually, after the draft, I'm actually starting to think that 6th Gen might actually be my favorite generation.
Wild. That's great, though.
I'm actually starting to think 6th Gen might be my favorite Pokemon generation.
X and Y is just fun, and then Oras is, like, godlike. It's a godlike remake, and I need people to understand that.
There are things I like about it and things I don't, but that's a conversation for another day. So no. Yes. So Jeff's first pick here was fucking Go-Goat.
Gotta capitalize all 4 of those last 4 letters. Because Go-Goat about to be the greatest of all time, boys.
Oh, yeah?
It's tough. Listen. This is like... We tried our best. Granted, it didn't help that we were doing it over the course of, like, several hours, late into the night, trying to figure out... Yeah. Trying to vet the D-Max tier to make sure we didn't leave anything crazy.
Yeah.
We failed. A couple cases.
Yeah.
And I strongly feel that Go-Go is on that list of ones that are failures. Because let's be real. All right, let's go over it. It gets Airstream.
Yes.
Gets Knuckle. Can
Yeah.
also bulk up outside of Max to set up.
Yes.
Very solid natural bulk. And offensive stats.
Yes. Yes. I actually don't know what stats.
I'll pull up the stats right now. Because it is a very, very, very solid Pokemon. And I feel like it gets underappreciated thoroughly.
Sorry, if you hear a lot of noise while Jeff's talking, I'm sorting through my Digimon cards because I'm trying to build a new deck while we're doing this.
Alright. So go to its stats. Alright, going across the board. 123 HP. 100 attack. 62 defense. But we'll get to that. 97 special attack. 81 SPDF. 68 speed.
Okay.
Solid across the board, right?
Mediocre across the board.
It's solid.
That defense. No, that defense is
But we got the bulk ups. We got the bulk
To
ups.
quote the name of a very famous musical artist, that defense is bad, not good.
It's not good. But we got the bulk ups. And we have its ability, which I think everyone forgets exists because it's the only evolutionary line that has it. And thanks to it being a max captain, it can utilize it for like one of the first times effectively and consistently ever.
Yeah.
And that ability is Grass Pelt. What Grass Pelt does is it gives a 1.5 boost to the Mon's defense while in grassy terrain. Now, what does the max grass move set up?
Sun.
No. Yeah, I'll give you another shot. What does that max grass move set up?
Pretty sure it just is an automatic growth.
Unfortunately, that is an incorrect answer. We'll give you one more attempt.
Oh, I know. It lowers the defensive stats of the target.
Very close, but not quite. It sets up grassy terrain. So not only can I bulk up outside of max, I can then set up my grassy terrain while potentially nuking whatever's in front of me with a stab grass move. And then my defense shoots up by another 1.5 times. And then I go from
Yikes.
getting nuked on the FizzDef side to not being able to be broken. Paired with its crazy HP stat, paired with its solid 81 SPDF, this Mon is a tank. Ismon has the potential to be an absolute brick wall. And that 97 special attack, it becomes usable. When you dig into the move pool and see some of the moves it has access to that helps cover for its weaknesses, it gets usable. And it gets really solidly usable. This Mon has a lot going for it as a max captain.
Interesting.
The fact that it can get itself set up pre-max, it can set itself up in max, and then put itself into a position where like it's just not going to be broken through, and can just steadily wreck through teams. Because it also gets recovery. Like it has reliable recovery. Arguably better reliable recovery than some other Mons that tend to have it. I don't need your Synthesises, or your Morning Suns, or your Moonlights. I'll take double the PP with my milk drinks. Thank you. I'll take half your health for myself with my Horn Leeches, thank you. I got my grassy terrain that I'm setting up for myself. This Mon has the potential to just not die. That is the goal. This thing is designed to be an absolute terror. And there's so many different ways I can utilize it and make it such.
Now, do you think you have the team that can support that, though?
I do. Because a lot of my mons are either really good at wearing things down, stalling things out, and chipping the opposing team down. Things like Celesteela, Melodic. Floor just can do the job plenty well on its own. Donphan does a great job at that. I've got some solid rockers and hazard options between Donphan, Druddigon, and Whirlipede.
But nothing with solid rock.
Ha! I see you. I see what you did there. I see you. And I have the nukes with things like Alakazam, Blacephalon, ironically, Morpeko, because trust me, that thing's a nuke. You just don't realize it until you get hit by it, and then your mon you thought was switching in takes 30 into 70% and dies from Aura Wheel, because Aura Wheel is a stupidly busted move that just runs teams sometimes. I will stand on this hill, and people can try to argue with me. Morpeko is, period, end of discussion, the absolute, bar none, best Pikachu clone ever. Period.
Well, I mean, considering most of them are shit.
It is by far better than all of the others. Infinitely. And that's just because of Aura Wheel. Aura Wheel alone is all it needs.
Okay.
I've like solo swept teams by just running Aura Wheel.
Alright. Well, you know, we've talked about a couple individuals, but we alluded to it in your interview with me. But I think now is a good time to discuss it with you, because maybe you can change my mind. You know, we're talking about your team. I don't like your team. I think you have a lot of good pieces, but I feel like your team is too passive. And yes, you said that is the way you like to play. But it is my fear for you that this team is a little bit too plug and play when it comes to his offense. You know what I mean?
Which is fair. It's very fair.
Like Blacephalon, I don't think Blacephalon stays on the field long enough to get much done. I think Alakazam... I feel like Alakazam is something whose hand needs to be held.
Also, quite fair.
Who else? Like, Morpeko, I want to see you prove me wrong. I not that I'm doubting Morpeko. I've just never seen it in action. I think it is it's my favorite Pika clone. He's adorable. I want to see him do work. Kangaskhan, I mean, I still think it's ridiculous that Kangaskhan is allowed to use Power Punch because it's damaging Sword Stance.
Yeah.
But I feel like Celesteela is a little too passive. I feel like Milotic and Florges are too passive. I feel like Whirlipede is too passive. I feel like Druddigon, on paper, is a good Z user. I don't know what its move pool's like, but that speed leaves a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
Like, I'm concerned that you're not actually going to be able to fire off Z moves.
See, Druddigon, I went with as a Z user because mainly just due to its natural bulk. Like, I feel like its bulk gets underestimated more often than it should.
I know it's very bulky. I know it's a very bulky Pokemon.
And the key with it is, it's like, it's not going to be a Z user every week. That's the big thing. I grabbed it mainly because I needed a solid dragon that, like, a solid cheap dragon that could get the job done that I needed it to do, while still having the option to be a strong Z user if necessary. And I feel like it can indeed achieve that. Because its move pool is solid. Its move pool is very solid. It gets a lot of necessary coverage that it needs. It gets a lot of different type coverage, which I think will be very useful for my team. And I think overall, like, its power output is something that can't be understated. Like, it's a very strong mon. It does hit hard.
Oh,
so I think it will surprise. I think it will surprise.
Well,
people.
I hope it does. I hope it surprises. But that's a lot of talk on your team. Looking at others, we can talk at length about like teams you like or dislike, but I am curious if there's a team on here that if you had to pilot besides your own, you would want to. But we can talk as much or as little as you want about the other teams realistically.
Looking at a lot of the teams, especially like as they were forming, there weren't a lot that stood out as like, yeah, this is definitely something I would use. This is definitely some stuff I would definitely love to mess with. Some teams just like solid across the board, solid all around, that I feel like could be fun. I think Liam's team, I would have an okay amount of fun with. Although I feel like there's a lot of like minor issues that just make it seem less fun. It just feels very like, I don't know, just looks very standard, very kind of bland. There's nothing that stands out as like,
see that.
There's nothing that stands out that's like interesting or special about it. It's just kind of there. And I feel like he's drafted a lot of these mons too, like before. Like he has a lot of comfort mons. Specifically the Darm. I believe he's had Vanillix before, Conkeldurr.
I don't know if he's had Vanillix. Conk he's never actually had. It's always been Girder.
I could have sworn he had Conk like a season or two ago. I feel like I remember.
He had Girder.
I think he had Girder last season. I could have sworn
He's had
Conk
Girder
before.
a few times.
Still feels like it like ties in with it's like close enough.
Yeah, he's run that evolutionary line a bunch.
Yeah. Steven's team is fine. I like Mega Aggron. So I wouldn't be opposed to using Steven's team for Mega Aggron again. Jason's team is absurd. That team can never be understated as like, it's just good. I don't really see a lot of holes in that draft. It's really, really well put together. It's really, really properly designed. It has all the tools it needs to succeed. So I think that's like a top 2 draft. Anthony's draft's good. Your draft is really good. I like it. Jesse's draft is okay. Eric's draft is solid. Dragapult's fun. I enjoy using Dragapult. Frostmoth shouldn't be the Z user, but it's besides the point. Quentin made a solid draft out of the leftovers. David's draft is fine. Deshaun's draft is really good. I think if I had to pick any I would want to, it's between Deshaun's and Jason's, I think. Both teams are incredibly solid.
Fair. That is fair. Deshaun did draft a very comfortable team for him.
Plus, they have some others of my favorites that are like really, like good long-time favorites of mine. Like especially on Deshaun's team with the Electros. Electros was on my first ever championship team back in like mid Gen 6. My first ever league championship. Electros helped carry me to that title. So, obviously I have that like nostalgic tie to it. Rillaboom has been a staple mon on a couple of my drafts this gen. So, I think that would be a team I would be able to really utilize a lot of.
Right on. Are there, you know what? I'm feeling spicy. Are there any teams you really just don't like and you want to make sure the coach knows it? I don't know draft ratings.
I know there's like at least one or two. I don't like James's draft just because of Mega Banette. I think it's a waste of a Mega pick. It's terrible. And made so much worse by the fact that we're back in Gen 8 and Prankster doesn't work on Dark types again. It's just made so much worse. And it's just not good. Like, his team gets rinsed by any Ghost type. Any strong Ghost type literally eats his whole team alive. And you can't make the excuse for Sharpedo or Ditto because Ditto becomes the ghost type and dies. And Sharpedo dies to a breeze.
Yeah.
A hard-hitting resisted hit does 60% to the thing. It's fucking garbage.
That's really funny.
I've seen the Mon get O-code by resisted hits. Like it's not even fun. It's just sad. It's depressing. I'm still iffy on Callum's draft. I recognize the rain aspect of it, but I feel like there's some elements that make weather teams, especially in a format like this, much easier to counter. There's so many more elements available that, like, I just feel like it's not... I feel like this kind of format is not the format for weather teams. Weather teams do not do great a lot in Gen 8. Like, it's very rare to see.
Makes it very easy to counter weather.
Yeah. Yeah, if your weather abuser isn't your max captain, which we made sure that was not going to be the case in like 9 times out of 10, it's going to get shut down immediately because the max captain is just going to come in, nuke it, get it out of the way, and move on. And I feel like that's gonna happen. For the most part, though, like the rest of the drafts are either like middle of the road, like they're fine, not really my style, not really anything I'm like too keen on, but like they're not terrible. They're just there. Like aside from like the 2 or 3 good drafts with like Jason's, Deshaun's, and stuff, like the rest are just kind of eh. Just eh. I feel like a lot of drafts are just eh.
Fair. I guess you guys should temper your expectations when we release our ratings.
We're not going to be nice. We're not going to be nice at all. We're going to be honest.
Yeah, I think
there are going to be a lot of C's.
Nice. Yeah, I think we were too nice. We were too nice last season.
We're very generous. Very, very generous. Now we're just going to not be generous. If you get your feelings hurt by draft rankings, sorry. Sorry, I'm not apologizing for it. I'm just going to rank your draft. It's my opinion. If you don't like it, prove me wrong. Happily. Would love to be proved wrong. I love to be proved wrong on draft ratings. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing to see. Yeah, this draft looks like shit on paper. Okay, you went undefeated. Fair enough, you got me. Well played.
But we have to get there first.
Yeah. If you get upset about a negative draft rating and you don't prove me wrong, why were you upset?
That is also true. That is also true, but most importantly, if you're going to get upset and not back it up, no, telling you guys to leave is mean. I won't do that. Just back it up if you get upset with your draft rating.
Please stay. We don't want anyone else to leave. It's just a pain in the butt. It's a logistics nightmare.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with it anymore. No more logistical nightmares. I just want to play Pokemon. And have fun.
Yeah.
And this season should be fun, because it's going to be nutty.
Speaking of nutty, what's nutty is how bullshit free your division is.
Nah, I wouldn't say free.
If you have Gav before he's in danger of D-League, that is free.
I mean, yeah. I love Gav. He's great. But, yeah. First half of the season, he just doesn't play. Then he actually plays in the second half because he doesn't want to leave main league. He's pulled off the insanity every single season since we've introduced D-League demotions. I don't know how he does it. It's absurd.
Yeah.
If late season Gav was there a whole season, he would be a playoff contender every season, and I stand by that fact.
Yeah, he would be. He absolutely would be. He's done it a couple times.
Yeah. Indeed he has, and he's been those seasons he was absolutely terrifying, for the most part. People just didn't know how to deal with Chansey that one season, but we don't talk about that season much. That was depressing. The fact that Chansey was the kill leader for like several weeks.
So good.
He went 11-0 for a time, and that was sickening. Legitimately made me angry.
So good.
Oh yeah, it was great, absolutely great. But I mean, Gav's not bad. If Gav wakes up and plays in the early half of the season,
you're boned.
Straight up. Like his team's not even bad. Like his teams are usually kind of like meh at best. His team's like not terrible. He's got a lot of really annoying mons to deal with. I have to play him twice. No, I don't have to play him twice. I couldn't remember. Well, I'm glad I don't have to play late season Gav, but I got lucky. But
all right. Well, you say your division's not free. Well, we haven't seen Quentin battle in like a year and a half, so
yeah, but he's been my kryptonite. He has been a kryptonite for me every single time we played. I don't even know what happens. I don't know what it is. Every time I play him, he just like he could be having the most mid-season, and then all of a sudden he plays me, and he becomes like it's like I'm playing MV.
He becomes God.
Basically, it's absurd. He just absolutely like rips me apart every time. I don't know how it happens, and now I have to deal with it twice. It's going to be a mess. It's going to be a dangerous mess. I'm not keen on having to fight him twice. That's going to be a nuisance. And then Jesse. Jesse's the poster child for inconsistency.
Yes,
so
he is.
He went from winning the championship 2 seasons ago to being like on the cusp of D-League for most of the last season.
And I think he still ended the season being like one of the people that just barely escaped.
Yeah. So it's like we don't know what kind of Jesse we're going to get. We don't know what level of Jesse we're going to get this season. So,
well, you know what? I'm going to light a fire under his ass. If we get the same Jesse, if Jesse plays the same way he did last season, we know Jesse we're getting, and that's Jesse that's going back to D-League.
I'll happily send him there. I'll do my best to send him packing.
Yeah, like Jesse, you're a funny guy. You played like shit last season, except for when Volcanion put you on its back and carried you.
Volcanion was goated.
Volcanion was very good. You played it very well, but you also did not live up to being the defending champion, and I'm gonna call you out for it.
I feel like that's the biggest fall from grace we've had.
Yeah.
Pick it up, Jay. Pick it up, Jesse. What are you doing?
Didn't call you out during your interview, and that was a mistake on my part. And I'm fixing it right now.
Wake up, bro. Get it together. We know you're good. We know you can be good.
So
Wake
don't
up.
click Drain Punch when you're maxed out on against the Sylveon, and just click the not resisted move.
Boom. Got him.
Got him. Bring Dragonite. Well, you don't have Dragonite. Bring Kyurem Black for. Well, he doesn't have Dragon Dance, so I hope he's not underwhelmed by Kyurem and didn't get wide-eyed. It's not just the base stat total. I know that's why he picked it. That's what he said in his interview, but I hope it just doesn't disappoint him.
It's a mon that, like, even without Dragon Dance, can be a threat. It's just, it requires a little bit more effort to do it. It's still a mon that can do
I'm worried
well.
that Jesse's like building style isn't going to cater to that, though.
Yeah. We'll definitely have to see how he plays with it, but it's definitely a mon that's going to be interesting to see it utilized.
Then again, we see Jesse do the weird shit, and I think Kyurem does well when it's supported by said weird shit.
I also don't have a good team for facing it, so that's going to be...
Oh, well, okay, Jesse, you get a free win.
Yeah. My team is not good for facing Kieran Black, so I'm not looking forward to having to deal with that.
I take all that back, Jesse. You're gonna beat Jeff, and it's gonna be totally fine.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough. That's a rough matchup for me. Very, very rough matchup. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that one plays out. That's gonna require a lot of thought.
But not too much thought. You don't wanna lose.
It requires enough thought.
Yeah, but again, you don't want to just like lose from over prepping and overthinking.
Yeah, for sure. But it's definitely one that's going to require some very specific tech. It's a good thing I'm really good at doing that.
Well, hopefully you stay consistent.
All I have to do is keep pulling out stuff like I did in playoffs last season. I can keep pulling out stuff like that.
Round 1 of playoffs.
Yes. Round 2 of playoffs, I had good plans, and they just didn't work.
Yeah.
Good plans on paper that just didn't get executed properly.
Yeah.
But I just gotta make every one of my Pokemon agility return PZ, and we'll be fine. If every mon I build is...
That's the philosophy. You want as much of your team to be that level of unpredictable as possible, and then you do well.
Exactly.
Unless you just run the same sets every week, then you won't do well. But
yeah.
Don't run the same sets every week, I guess.
I don't think I've ever done that. I think
no, but someone's gonna.
Oh yeah, of course, Gav.
Yeah, but it works for him.
Yeah, true. Until he gets caught for it, and then someone specifically builds for all those sets, and then he loses.
It works for Gav, though.
It'll be fine. I'm not worried.
But anyway, that's your feelings on your division. But what about your whole schedule? Who are you? What do you think about your schedule? Who are you excited to play?
Alright, let's break it down. We got my divisional matches, which are fine.
Except for Quentin.
Yeah. That one's going to be a pain. Did I mess up in my... I'm an idiot. I messed up for week 1 already. I was prepping for the wrong team for week 1. Oops, whatever.
Well, you have it written down, at least.
Yeah, and don't see Gav making any changes between week 1 and week 3, so it'll be fine.
No, it's too early in the season.
I don't even know. Why did I do that? Why did I do that? Why did I think I played Gav first?
It just happens.
I had to deal with Kieran Black first. That's even worse. Jesus. Okay. So, divisional matches, gonna be a pain, but nothing, like, too scary yet. I play Eric. Eric, I'm about 50-50 with. I've traded wins and losses with him in and outside of this league, so it's been interesting.
He doesn't have fucking... God, I'm blanking really hard. He doesn't have D-Max Salomon, so that's all good. That's fine.
Yeah. But
he had that against me elsewhere, and it wasn't fun. But continue.
But that one's going to be interesting. That's going to require a lot more deep dive into the matchup, but I feel like that one's winnable. I have to play Anthony, which is always hit or miss for me. So that one's going to be fun. I like playing Anthony just because he really challenges me to try to think even further outside of the box than I usually do. So that's going to be really interesting matchup-wise. Play David. David, I have had much closer games with later on. He beat me recently in the Goons League, but that was like... it's either here or there. I think I have a winning record over him for the most part overall.
There was money on the line in that, so that's not
little extra motivations.
We're still waiting on our money, Jesse. Winners Club.
Ooh.
Just saying.
Got him.
I'm joking. I mean, we are, but I'm like not. I'm not being serious.
Let's see. Who else do I play? I play I get Deshaun. I get a proper Week 7 rematch, so that's going to be interesting.
Hey, that's not guaranteed. He's got Cloyster.
Listen, my team is better designed to deal with Cloyster this time. I actually have tools to beat it.
I don't know about that one.
So I have better tools to deal with it than I did last season. Last season, I did not have any tools for it at all.
No, we'll see.
I'm confident I can deal with it. I'm not worried about Cloyster. I don't have PTSD.
You should be.
I have to play you Week 8, which is going to be nasty. It's always a barn burner, so I'm going to tear the house down, as per usual.
Yeah.
I play Jason Week 9. That's going to be fun. His team is one of the best ones, so definitely going to be a tough matchup for sure. Then I play Liam, and that's going to be not fun because playing Liam's never fun.
Man,
he's so good.
You just talked crap on his team. It should be all good.
This doesn't mean I want to play it.
Well, that's a you problem.
It doesn't look like a fun match to play, and that's going to be the problem with it. It doesn't look like it'll be fun to deal with.
Fair. It doesn't.
And then Week 11, I have Steven, and that's always a tough matchup. He gave me a lot of tough games last season as well, so that's going to be a terrible way to have to finish off the season right before I have to play Quentin for a second time. So
that's the man. That's the boy.
It's not the worst schedule it could be, but it definitely didn't favor me that when the conferences got randomized, I got randomized in the same conference as your division.
Yeah. Have fun preparing. Well, I don't know how tough the other three guys' teams are to prep for, but have fun prepping for me.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a mess.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to prep for my team. You know, I'm not being like any kind of way, just like on paper. That is not a team I would want to have to try to figure out.
Oh no, definitely not. I'm not looking forward to that at all. It's gonna be a mess, but it's also gonna be a challenge. So it's gonna be that's the fun part for me. Is every single week looks like there's gonna be a lot of challenging aspects to building for it, and that's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm very much enjoying that.
At least you like it. Somebody has to.
Yeah, I like the extra effort.
Somebody
Plus, now that I'm
has to
cutting
like the challenge,
right. Plus, now that I've cut down the number of leagues that I'm in by a significant amount.
For now.
I have myself capped. I've had 2 people ask me to join leagues in the past week, and I've shut them both down because I'm just
I am fully expecting and anticipating that you are going to be in more again sooner rather than later.
I genuinely I just don't have the time, and it's unfortunate. I would do more, but promised my fiance I'd cut back a bit. Promised myself I'd cut back a bit. And I'm sticking to it. I
You insist. It's been my opinion that you've never had the time for all the leagues that you've been signing up for.
So you would think, but working from home, it helps. Working from home helps a lot, especially when I don't have quotas to meet or anything. It's very light level of effort.
I suppose that's true, but I also suppose we will have to see how it all shakes out.
Yeah, for sure. At least I have more time to devote to it. I can put more time into my builds, more time into, really breaking teams down and stuff, and, making the most out of what I got. So hopefully I will be able to utilize all that time effectively.
Hopefully is the operating word.
Absolutely. And if it doesn't work out, I can always make some changes, as the season goes on. We'll see how everything works and whatnot.
Yes, you will. Yeah, we'll see how everything works. That is the only way to progress. We can't look back and see how everything works. Well, I guess we are looking back and see how things work, technically.
Yeah, but it'll be fun. At the end of the day, I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be a great way to, finish out this generation as we're going into the next one.
Right on.
And I think it's going to be interesting. Whatever happens, happens. As long as I don't land in D-League, that's all that matters.
Well, you might. Anything's possible.
Oh, yeah, but I'm not going to let it happen. I can't do it. Can't have the head commish go to D-League. It's not allowed. It's not allowed. Against the rules. It's like a bylaw.
We've already had 2 commissioners go to D-League.
I shall not be the third.
Honestly, I'm just trying not to be the third.
Nah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be in playoffs.
Well, hopefully. I mean, damn, if this team doesn't win, if my team doesn't win, I think there's a problem too.
Right?
But anyway, I think that's all the questions I had for you at this time. Is there anything left on your mind that you want to say to anybody who's watching or listening before we move forward into season 16?
I think the only thing that I have to say is bring your A game, guys. I'm excited to see
bring
this
your
season.
A-game. Finish your thought. Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited for this season. I'm excited to close out this generation. Let's do it right. Let's do it the way that NPBF should, and by putting on the absolute best draft league games out there. People are saying the draft community is toxic and dying and all these things. You're right. But you know what? We can be the light that changes that. We can be the people that change that perception. Let's show people what the draft league community can really be like, and when done properly.
Hear, hear. But as a side note, I'm hijacking the interview to quickly say, do your fucking battles, do your fucking prep, and don't fucking forfeit if you're not like down to 1 Pokemon and in a losing situation.
I will just start removing people if they do it.
I wasn't gonna say that, but
because I'm sick of it.
You can do that.
Because I'm sick of it. It got really bad last season. The people that are known for it are no longer in the league.
By coincidence, mind you, but
works out. It's worked out that way. So
yeah,
don't do it. Do not do it.
Don't give in to temptation.
I understand. We've all been there. We've all been on the ladder. We've all been playing games, and we just want it to end. We see there's no route to victory. We just click the X button and move on with our day.
But this isn't the ladder.
Exactly. We play our games out. We finish our matches, and that's it.
Yep.
We're all here to have fun, and at the end of the day, put on good quality matches. That's not a good quality match.
No, that's a bad quality match.
So let's all just have some fun, kick some ass, and put on one hell of a show.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Season 16, baby. Let's kill it.
Let's kill it. Alright. Now with that minor hijacking out of the way, I think we can actually sign off now.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
So, Jeff, thank you for joining me. Thank you for defending your team that I still think is mid.
Happy to do it. I'll happily prove it wrong.
Yes, I'm looking forward to you proving it wrong to Quentin, or Quentin proving me right. I'm just looking forward to that game.
Me too, kind of. Kind of. I just want to see if it's still my kryptonite.
Well, this might not be the good week. The rematch might be the indicator once he's just in case he's rusty.
Fingers crossed.
Because he might be rusty right now. And by might be, I mean, I have almost zero doubt right now that Quentin is going to be rusty all hell.
I will happily take advantage of it.
Although it's going to be really funny if he isn't rusty and he just sweeps the floor. With you, with Jesse, with everybody in the league. Everybody that he plays against, he's just going to take a big old juicy dump on.
All hail Quentin on his epic return. He's coming back to win the title.
That's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to all hail Quentin.
He's coming back to win the title in his first season back. That's what's happening.
And this wound up being a let's gas up Quentin interview instead of a let's gas up Jeff interview.
Let's be real. From where this started, it was never a let's gas up Jeff interview.
Well, you know what? We're not holding back, asking the real hard hitting questions, and for me, part of that is what the fuck are we looking at?
You're right. You're right. But you know what?
That's how I feel.
I'll get my title eventually. It might not be this season. It might not be next season. But damn it, I'll get one.
Eventually.
I will make it happen. It's gonna happen. But we'll just have to see if this season will be it.
Yeah, eventually.
Eventually. I'll be
Nothing
in my
wrong with eventually.
I'll be in my 40s, but you know, I'll get there.
God.
All the good players will all have retired. I having no other hobbies. I having no other actual hobbies will probably still be doing this.
I'm sure Ayla has other thoughts on it.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, thank you again for joining me. Thank you everyone for tuning in and listening. We still have some more. Crazy, I know that we still haven't finished these, but we're still not done. So we still got a few more. Keep your eyes peeled as well for the beginning coverage of the season 16 weekly recaps. But until then, we will see you guys soon.
Yes, sir. Peace.